Hi, in this video I'll be showing you how to draw your brickwork in the Truth Engine Vectorworks environment. So as you can see, we've finished off the concrete and we're now ready to move on to the brickwork. And before we start, I must also that drawing the brickwork and getting your openings in will take up most of your time when creating your model in Vectorworks. And we do have plans to speed up that process in the future, but right now we have this pretty good, pretty quick method of tracing over your plan. Okay, so if we go to our brickwork view and our brickwork tool set, so we're ready to go. We've got our wall tool there, the inbuilt wall tool, as I mentioned before, and the DWG that we're going to trace over. So I'm going to start with the cavity walls. Now I actually like to go to this view and draw my cavity walls. So you go to brickwork, it turns everything off and just leaves the concrete slab or the extent of the slab, and we can use that geometry to draw our cavity walls in quite quickly. So if we start the wall tool, and that's the wall I want to use, that's the majority of the houses built with that wall and the component, so it's 2-course cavity vertical plaster. Not going to worry about the heights at this stage. We'll jump over to this view here later on. I'll show you how we can use that view to quickly draw the heights. So I'm going to aim to get all the walls in, and then we'll come and revisit the different heights and the component settings of each wall. But what I'll do is I'll start in this back corner. Before we go any further, just make sure that's correct. So yes, that's where the wall should sit on the slab. Taking into consideration your settings here, that should be set to core and either left control line mode or right control line mode, depending which way you're traveling. Okay, so now I can zoom out and really quickly get the cavity walls in. Across the front here, we will have actually a rendered wall, cavity wall. I'll show you how to change that in a minute. And of course, on the garage, we have a single leaf brickwork, and I'll show you how to change that as well. But I find it's quicker to get this done and then come back and change them. Okay, so that's closed off, and there's our perimeter brickwork all ready to go. So in this view, I need to change these 3 front walls here. So press X to select and select these 3 walls. I'm going to change those to rendered. So if we go into our object info on the right hand side and on the style drop down, select replace. I'm going to replace this wall with a rendered set, and there's our render vertically cored cavity vertically cored plaster. That's our standard cavity wall we use for a rendered front. Okay, so I'll go select. Now it's asking us how to replace this. So one thing, make sure it's ticked on your dollar box when you first run it. There's rejoin wall components that will sort out your intersections, so make sure that's ticked. Now, when I'm replacing these walls, the easiest way to do it is just go down the middle of the internal vertically cored wall, because that's going to stay in the same position, and that's how it will realign the wall when it brings them in. Okay. Okay, so you can see that's actually in the same position based on this internal wall, and that's done. Now these 2 walls we're going to change to single leaf with plaster on the inside of 2-course face. So select those walls, go replace. I'm going to change that to 2-course face section when you've got the 2-course and plaster. Now just trust me on this one. So we basically want the 2-course face. We want the inside of that wall to line up with that wall and replace it. So it took me quite a while to work out, so you just trust me on this one. That is the way to do it. There we go. Now if we look at our plan view, you'll see that that wall is in the correct position. So how I had that dialog box, you might want to screenshot that on how I had those settings and how to replace that wall. Okay, next I'm going to do the garage walls. So we can do this with the two leaves of the two course wall, which is 190 wide. So I'm going to go all the way around and then chop out this opening. And when we come to the frames objects later on, I'll show you how to put in these niches and this opening here. But for now, we'll get the brickwork in. So go back to our wall tool. Now this is actually going to be rendered to the front and two course face finished to the side, but I'm just going to use this two course face both sides and we can change that later. So we'll go for the 190. So there's our rendered version, and there's our zero lot version, which we're going to actually use in this case on that zero lot wall. And here's our standard 190 wide two course cavity ties two course. Then go select. Start drawing, and you can see that's in the right location. There's our endpoint there. And double click there. Okay, pretty good. So what we can do now to change these walls is we can make this wall now here a rendered front wall by going to replace, which is that one there. And we're going to replace the internal with the internal, so that we know that's going to be in the right location. Okay, and there's our rendered to the front. Excellent. Now we're going to change this to a zero lot wall. Now I've got this special wall that we use for this situation, and by default the outside leaf is one course higher than the ceiling height, which is a requirement, and they will also return solids to the top of both leaves of brickwork, which is also another requirement. So we're going to change that. To the zero lot, select, and again on this side and that side that's going to be the same, and okay. There we go. And if we zoom in, you can see how the external leaf is one course higher as compared to the front and the back. We will be dropping the ceiling height down to 25 courses, but we'll go through that a bit later. And this is your stock standard two course face wall. Okay, so while we're working on that garage area, we shall do our piers. We'll go to our top plane view. You can see we have these attached piers, so we have a wall type to handle that. So you should two course cavity ties, so that will give you your wall ties, wire ties that you need. As you can see there with that black, this thin component there. And when we draw these walls, basically clicking on the outside, and there's our wall in the right location. It does all the intersection for you. The intersections are pretty good in Vectorworks, but there's our cavity ties component, and then we'll just go around. And of course these walls are defaulted to be at -2 courses, so they'll be sitting on the footing already. There we have it. Now, next wall I'm going to draw is I'll just show you how to draw one of these internal walls, and then I'll pause the video and finish it off and come back to finish off some of these components out the front. So I'll change it to an internal wall, which is your plaster, vertically cored plaster, and select. And I'll start by just drawing this bath. So I'll just start on one point here. Okay, it's got the alignment right. So if the wall was flipped or on the wrong axis, you can just change it by pressing right control line mode. Okay, and there's our internal brickwork. So I'll stop recording here and I'll come back when I finish these internal walls. And then we'll finish off these external feature walls that we have here, and then we'll set some heights. Okay, welcome back. As you can see, I have completed the internal walls. So if you quickly go to our 3D view, you can see we're starting to get almost to the end of our brickwork. So let's go back to our plan view and just quickly explain a few things. So these robe doors, they technically aren't opening, so you don't need to draw a wall from here to here. If you do draw a wall and put an opening in it, it will always pay plaster with that opening. In this case, we don't want to pay plaster, so we won't draw a wall there, and we'll draw the robe as a standalone object. Also, openings like this one here. So we've got this opening with a soffit over. So that's basically just a ceiling finish. So there's no brickwork required there. There's no brick lintel required, so we don't draw a wall through there. However, in this case, this is a 25 course opening with a brick lintel over. So we'll model this with an opening, and that opening will give us our fast wall lintel at the same time. Okay, so there's majority of brickwork done. We're just going to finish off these walls to the front. So here we have a 2-course face wall, and that is going to be rendered on one side, I think. So we will select this wall. So in the preview, I can see that the render is going to be on the inside, which is what I want. So if I go to our 3D view, you can see we have render on the inside, matching up with that wall there. Okay, I'll go back to our plan view. I need 1-course face through here. So we'll change it to a 1-course face feature wall. And same method. We'll look at our 3D view. You can see we've got the different texture, so we know that's going to be 1-course face. And now we'll do this wall that's going to house the meter box. Let's go back to our plan view, finish off. So this wall looks like it's 2-course face finish on this side, and then render from there onwards by the looks. So I will draw a 2-course wall without any finish to start with. You can see now this wall is on the wrong side of my reference line, so I can just flip that over using that function there. That's the point I want. I think we'll go to there. In terms of quants, it's probably going to be pretty close to what we need. Just check that view. Yeah, okay. So I'll just change this wall to a 2-leaf wall. This should give us the quants that we need. And we'll go down the middle. Okay. And this side needs render. So we'll change that to 2 face with render. So then we'll make the reference line down the middle of the 2 face. There we go. That will give us that render through there. So that's pretty close to what we'll need there. That's up to you and your business on how exactly you actually want to get there. So I can't quite tell where the render starts. It could be on this face as well. Okay, so that should be all of our brickwork. So I'll just go back to our plan view to make sure there's nothing is missed. And that looks pretty good. So I might end this video here. In the next video, I'll show you how to change all of the wall heights of the overall wall plus any component heights. So if we need to drop plaster or raise external brickwork. See you there.